only music matters.
He wanna know.
It's Trevor B. Go! Talk to Trev on Super Radio. m.mixcloud.com. Talk to Trev.
We are now officially recording. Recording. We were just. I just quickly asked the question before I actually press record. This is a very, very young band. This started like a month or two ago, or maybe beginning of the year. But you'll have to tell me. And it's a bit strange to start a band in the middle of COVID and a third wave coming on top of that. So why?
So it's quite a long story. So during the middle of the first hard lockdown, our guitarist, Lloyd Timke, he basically started, he was in the business world and a businessman, and he had time away from his busy work schedule to actually get back to his first love of music. And he was always a muso first and foremost. He played in a lot of bands in his youth and in his younger days. And yeah, man, so he started writing just as an outlet to just for all the frustration and the hardships and the stresses and all that kind of thing. And he started writing some really awesome rock songs on the guitar. And anyway, I was doing, for me, I'm also a full-time musician. That's what I do as well. And I was doing Facebook live streams in the middle of the hard lockdown just to pay the bills. So I had my banking details on the screen and people would tip me. And that's literally how I got through lockdown, and I managed to pay my rent and I paid my bills.
Wow.
And put food on the table was just by doing Facebook live streams. So so Lloyd started working on these tracks, and then he was like, I want to record these songs, and he didn't quite have the knowledge to record it. So he just kind of reached out to our bassist Brendan, who then was just a guy he found also on Facebook, and he said, hey Brendan, you play in the band You, Me and the Harmony, you're also a great sound engineer and a mixer and whatnot. Can you come and help me record these like rough demos I'm doing, and maybe put a bit of bass and help me with the drums and just do like a rough mix? So Brendan started helping him, obviously virtually, and they got these instrumental rock tracks recorded with bass and the drums, and Lloyd had recorded them. And then what happened is Lloyd found me one night watching me. I think Mark Beeling shared my live stream. Mark Beeling was from Mr. Mustard, and he shared my live stream, and Lloyd tuned in one night and watched me performing, and he was like, oh, I love this music, great. And they were requesting songs and whatnot, so they should tune in every week and send me a bit of a tip here or there. And eventually Lloyd sent me a message and he said, hey man, I've been watching your live streams and I've written these songs and I'm looking for someone to sing on them, and I love your voice, and your voice is exactly what I had in mind for this project, and would you mind maybe writing lyrics and melodies and trying to sing on these tracks?
Yeah.
And when I got the message first, I get a lot of emails like that from people, like randoms, like, oh, hey, man, help me, hook me up with a record deal, or help get onto radio and all this kind of thing. So I got it, and I was like, a little bit skeptical. Anyway, he sent me the tracks, and I listened to them. I was like, wow, I love this. This is amazing. This is what I've been wanting to do for like years. I've been doing the pop and adult contemporary stuff and getting a lot of radio play and success under my own name. But I'm a rocker, first and foremost. That's the music I love. And I was also in a bad place, and I said, you know what, this is awesome. And I started writing the lyrics and melodies, and the songs came out amazingly. And then I was like, well, let's go and record the tracks. So I contacted my mate Dale from Prime Circle, the drummer of Prime Circle. He's got a great studio called 37B Recording Studio. And we booked a session there to go and record. And Dale heard the tracks. He's like, man, I want in on this. I love this. This music's amazing. It's heavy. It's rock. I want to drum on this. I want to be the drummer. And we were like, well, amazing, fantastic. And that's basically how the band formed. It's just by randomly through lockdown, contacting each other randomly on Facebook, and ending up at Dale's studio. And Dale became more than just the recorder and producer. He became the official fourth band member of the band.
And he is from Prime Circle, and anybody in South Africa will know Prime Circle is absolutely massive.
Biggest
Obviously,
band in the country.
I mean, you guys, you individually, you've all done your thing in this country and abroad. You've all featured in one way or another in charts and all that sort of stuff. Is there like a point where you're kind of like doing this stuff, like you were saying, the pop and the contemporary sort of stuff, and you're a rocker at heart? Is there any point where you say to yourself, "Fuck, just stop and go to your roots," kind of thing? Is that why you decide? I mean, it's your bread and butter doing pop and contemporary because that pays the bills, really.
That, at the end of the day, I don't particularly. I'm more of like, for my original stuff, Jack Atlantic's more of like a John Mayer vibe, which John Mayer's music I absolutely love. I'm a huge fan of John Mayer and his kind of music. So I've never really written anything just to get onto radio, to try and be on radio. I've always tried to write from the heart, But on the one side, in South African context, generally speaking, you can't get on radio, in commercial radio, with the sound that Fear of Falling has. It's just too heavy. And it's always been a longing then. It's like, people always like, "Yeah, you got a rock voice. Why aren't you singing rock, Why are you doing this pop and chill stuff?" And I'm like, well, I love all types of music, but I love rock. And that's basically what this project was about. It's like, you know what? Stuff radio, stuff what other people think. We want to write music that we love, that comes from the heart. I want to express myself in lyrics that I wouldn't be able to necessarily express myself in my normal solo stuff. So we really pushed the kind of the bar. We covered things of like depression and alcoholism and addiction and all these kind of things. I wrote lyrics that were really deep and really meaningful and really kind of pushed the boundaries a bit. And we thought, stuff, we are doing it for ourselves, and we're doing it because we love this music. We love rock. Yeah. And stuff what anyone else thinks, and if people love it, well, that's great. And if they don't, well, then you know what? We're doing something that's pure to us.
I mean, that's rock and roll, isn't it? I mean, that's literally just it's the rock and metal community is something else. It is. Yeah. People use the word family a lot when they speak about rock and metal, but it really actually is, because we are up against the grind of pop and techno and house and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we are, the underdog of note, but we are strong as fuck, and we keep delivering.
Absolutely, I agree 100%, man. It's really amazing,
So Lloyd had written 20 instrumental tracks. Now this is coming from the EPK that Warren from Plug Music Agency sends me. 20 instrumental tracks, and you guys whittled it down to 6. Was it? 6 tracks to EP. So the question begs now: the rest of the 14 tracks, what's going to happen to those? Are we going to see an album?
Absolutely. We're busy working on it at the moment. There's a lot of great tracks. I mean, Lloyd is phenomenal. The things he came up with the guitar. When I heard this stuff, I was like blown away. I was like, wow, this is like I've always dreamed about it. I've never actually found another guitarist or whatever that can really pull it off. And he managed to write this stuff. And it just, when I listened to it, so all those tracks, there were 20 songs. I basically had to go and listen through all 20, and I just had to find songs that spoke to me, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Because I had to go and then write the lyrics to it, write the melodies to those songs. So we kind of, it was kind of almost like a lucky package draw. I was like, oh, I love this song, and I started writing it. Oh, let me listen to this. But there are so many great tracks that are still there that we are working on, and more just coming out. Like Dale's writing tracks as well, some amazing tracks. Dale plays pretty good guitar as well. Wow. So I'm also writing stuff, so it's really evolving into something. So I think our album, I'm really excited to the full-length album. There's going to be some amazing tracks, and there's 1 or 2 tracks we wish we'd actually put onto the EP that we couldn't, but the album has definitely come out. So near the end of the year, I think December, we'll have a full track.
Wow. Okay. So that quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're working hard, and it's amazing being in the position, obviously, with Dale and his recording studio, and having a great producer like Dale and on board with us. It's phenomenal. So a lot of bands don't have that opportunity that you could just phone up your drummer and go to his professional studio and work with a pro producer who's also your drummer, and let's just lay the song down and let's get it out. You know what I mean?
It's such an amazing position to be in, because there are a lot of bands that are worthy of the position that you guys are in, that aren't, but you guys have got such an amazing startup, basically. But you guys have earned your stripes. Like I was saying earlier, all your individual stuff that you've all done together is separately, is amazing. I mean, Dale Prime Circle. Okay, we everybody in South Africa knows Prime Circle. You got, the guys play these outdoor festivals and wherever else. Is he gonna? Is this? I've heard you say it twice now in this conversation. Project. Is this just a project, or is it going to be a full-on thing?
No, this definitely is full on, and I think you don't have to necessarily separate one or the other. Like we're talking about the Prime Circle, they were one of my biggest influences growing up when I was growing up in high school. And listening, I absolutely love it. I still do love Prime Circle. Ross is busy doing his solo project at the moment, and the other guys in the band are also doing their own bands and own projects as well.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's one or the other. So we are pushing. Fear of Falling is a full-on band. It's not a side project. It's not a
super
little
group. Well, I mean, it is a super group, but it's
yeah. So we are pushing this. This is a band, and we all pushing it 100%. And just because we're doing Prime Circle doesn't mean I can't carry on with my Jack Atlantic stuff, and it doesn't mean Dale can't carry on with Prime Circle.
Sure.
I think there's enough space and there's enough room to be able to do different things and to express yourself in different ways, not just to be stuck into kind of one lane.
Right. Yeah. See, now it's going to get tricky now, because does it ever interfere all the other bands? Is there any sort of like when it comes to shows, like Prime Circle have like a big show coming up, and then all of a sudden Fear of Falling, might have a gig somewhere else. How is that going to happen? What takes preference?
Well, look, we're going to just have to. All that's, we're going to just have to see it as it comes, and I think
put them up. Let's go.
Everyone,
one.
Yeah, look. At the end of the day, kind of, and I think everyone kind of respects and everyone works around, everyone chats beforehand, So, for instance, Prime Circle's been booked for a date, Dale is booked, But if we get booked for a massive show, Fear of Falling is doing a show, Dale says, listen, guys, I'm actually unavailable on that date. We're going to have to maybe move it another date. I think there's a lot of just that mutual respect is there, I think, between everybody. And we work around things. Like I say, there's enough dates and there's enough time to actually to do both. You don't have to. It's not like we touring and we're doing a show every single night, touring the world, kind of playing every night.
Which is one of the questions I was going to ask is shows and tours and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, if you're looking towards the end of the year of having a fully fledged album out, I know obviously now it's a little bit difficult, although gigs are back on. It's a little bit difficult to get out there and to play and to promote and all that sort of stuff. So the end of the year, when the album, if the album does come out at the end of the year, it's a bit of a tricky one, because third wave about to kick in now. How do you guys plan the year ahead, or can you not?
Well, we've already planned our EP launch. We're doing a massive launch. We're launching the band officially on the 30th of July at Molly Malone's in Four Ways.
Fantastic.
They're putting up a massive big tent for us, so we're going to have a massive big stage, big sound, big lighting. We're going big, and so that's going to happen Friday, 30th of July. So that's already booked. Hope third wave or not. I think restrictions, limited to so many people and capacity and whatnot. We might have to limit the amount of people that we're going to have there. But I think the show is definitely go on. I'm performing flat out in my own right as well. I'm doing shows almost 6 shows a week at the moment, so I can't battling to keep up.
Jeepers! I mean,
so 30th of July we're doing our official launch, and it's going to be free to the public. So limited space, obviously, but completely free. It's going to be a massive show, big sound, big stage, big lighting, and when are tickets going to be made available and all that sort of stuff? If it's free, is it just a turn up thing or? That's it. So what we're still finalizing that, but I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to do it's going to be completely free, but obviously tickets are limited, so we only allowed a certain amount of people. I think it's about 250 people max. Right. We can't have any more than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have free tickets, but you'll have to just go online and register to get your tickets to come to the event. But it's going to be completely free, and it's we're going to have a lot of other surprises on the night as well.
There you go, family out there, and talk to your family. There you go, fantastic. Okay, jeepers, free. Nogal, people, get your eyes on your socials and and get Fear of Falling. Everything will be in the description below as well. So you guys can click on the description below and then go and get to the socials of Fear of Falling and like, follow, love, share, do whatever you need to do. But keep an eye on when that show's going to get announced. So that was one of the questions, was the shows for 2021. What is the end goal for Fear of Falling? Is it to break away out of South Africa and go abroad, or is it just cut your teeth here? I mean, you guys are seasoned as it is. So, I mean, really, is that the route to go?
Well, that is obviously the end goal. That's the ultimate dream. I mean, we've been really privileged at the moment. We've just been getting playlisted on stations across the world, all over the place. United States, the UK, Scotland, New Zealand, all over the world. It's been
Don't forget Super Radio.
And Super Radio. So it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's really and our music, I think, does appeal to a more of a mass market kind of internationally, where South African market is obviously very loyal, and but very small. We're very limited in South Africa for the kind of genre of music we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So we're really pleased with the response we've been getting from the international market. And yeah, I mean, if the opportunity arises, we'd love. That's the end goal, I think, for every artist in South Africa. This week recently, I was nominated for a SAMA Award for Best Adult Contemporary Album.
Awesome! Congratulations.
Which is for me as a solo artist, that's just like, wow, I can't believe it, a dream come true,
Fantastic.
So in our own right, we all kind of in this band, we all, Brendan's Yumi and the Harmony, also a great band, have really done well. Obviously Dale Prime Circle, and Lloyd has been a phenomenal musician for years. I think he played a band called Star Player, I think. Which were quite big a couple of years back. And so, yeah, man, we all kind of, we've got the experience. Let's say we've been through it all. So we kind of, which is a great position to be in, because we know what to do. We've learned from past mistakes, and going forward, I think, it's
what is
really
the worst
exciting
mistake that you've made?
I think entering The Voice, maybe. That's probably the worst mistake I've made personally.
Why? I would have thought that would be a good learning curve.
I did learn something from it. I mean, when I entered it, and it was kind of a point of frustration. I was tired of playing cover gigs and pub gigs in restaurants every single day of my life, and I thought, I need something to help just push me to the next level. And I entered into it, and I got through and got through to the final show and the top whatever. And they basically, how these shows work is that they research you. So they knew that, okay, I play guitar when I perform.
Right.
And so the first thing they said to you, no guitar, you can't use your guitar on stage. And I was like, well, that guy's using his guitar, why can't I? No guitar. Okay. So immediately they make that awkwardness, because they know I'm comfortable behind the guitar. It's my comfort zone.
Gotcha.
So let's take his guitar away. So that made me feel like all naked on stage kind of thing, And then the next thing, they actually, funny enough, made me sing a Prime Circle song. And they told me to sing, you're going to sing Hello. And I'm like, I don't want to sing Hello. My voice has got that roughness of Prime Circle, kind of that grunginess, fair enough, but it doesn't show my range, and I don't want to be seen as a copy or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, so long story short, go on stage, the final thing, there we are, all the seats are turned, I start performing, man, I had like an anxiety attack like you won't believe. Like, I got so nervous. I perform in front of people for a living, but those cameras and being out there and just, it just didn't feel right from the beginning. And I stuffed it up big time, because just the nerves. I sounded terrible, I think one or two comments were like, oh, he needs vocal lessons, or stick to your day job, or something along those lines.
Ouch.
But anyway, what I learned from that is, like, I trust your gut. If it doesn't, and from the beginning it was like, it was against my grain, and from what I learned from that is, trust your gut, and don't care what other people say about their opinions about your music and whatnot. Do what feels right, do what's in your heart, and do what you love, and don't let other people's opinions and kind of thing get in your way. So that was a big learning curve for me,
But that's almost not human, not letting that get you, because we are human, we are fallible, we have feelings.
I did a barnyard show once when I still came up to Joburg, started studying music, and after my studies I joined Barnyard, and we did a Beatles show. And we were performing down in Durban, and every night we'd go out and perform the songs. It was great. But one night, I think all the press came that night, and probably obviously got into my head.
Right.
And I had to play Here Comes the Sun, an acoustic version of Here Comes the Sun, which I played every night. But that night, I went completely blank on stage. and I was like, I couldn't remember how to play the song that I've played every night for 6 weeks in a row. So these things happen. I mean, it happens to the best of us, and it doesn't matter who you are. There's some big artists in South Africa and stuff who've had huge, big, blunders and here and there.
And live on TV too.
Level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's we, like I say, you're all human, and things happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We won't be human if we didn't feel. That's the thing. So let's touch on COVID. Obviously, how did you handle COVID, and how are you handling COVID? More to the point, how you handle?
Yeah. It was tough, So when was it? 2020 was supposed to be like one of my best years ever. I had so many corporates and wedding shows and gigs booked up, and it was going to be like, wow, this is going to be the year for me. And all of a sudden, overnight, they made an announcement, and then it was like zero work. All my income was gone. I'm a full-time musician. That's what I do for a living. Ouch. And it was completely gone overnight. And I say that's why, luckily, I started doing the live streams to do something, and it was quite successful. Like I said, it paid my bills and got me through it.
Yeah.
And I would say, like Fear of Falling, this band wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for COVID and the lockdown.
And that's the crazy thing.
A lot of good things happened. I met Lloyd. We all met each other, and it was through COVID, through watching my live streams, and through Lloyd's, not being able to go to the office and having time to sit at home and write those songs. And so a lot of good things actually came out of it. And I had the time to sit and write my solo album and to sit and write the songs for Fear of Falling, which was like, just pushed me in a completely different direction and just, help me break out of my shell, if you want to put it that way, and like push me in directions I never thought I'd actually go. And listening back to the album now, what we've done, the EP so far, it's like you listen back to it, it's like we were saying the other day, it's like, wow, this is amazing. From nothing a few months ago, this didn't exist, and now we've got these songs, and they're like, wow, they speak to you, and it's like it's such an amazing feeling. It's and
the EP is absolutely fucking fantastic, man. I've played it on Super Radio a fair bit, and I'm going to continue to do so because it suits the radio station a hell of a lot. And I actually just want to run through the tracks, and you can tell me the story behind each track. So, Sex as a Weapon. What's that one all about?
All right, so this has got I don't know.
I'll afford you a sip of whiskey while you get your head around.
I'm going to have to have a sip for this one.
Cheers.
So, a lot of the songs obviously are very personal or come from people I know, close people I know. So, anyway, I won't mention names, but
sure.
A close friend of mine said, complained. He's like, got kids and whatnot, and my wife always just like uses like sex as a weapon. She's like, oh, maybe if you help more around the house, maybe if you did more chores and helped me with the washing and helped me more with the kids, then maybe you would get more sex.
Shit, I wish my wife would say that to me, man.
Yeah, so he was like, stuff that. If that's the way she wants to use sex as a weapon for me, then stuff it. Then I don't care. I won't ask for it again. If she's gonna bribe me with it, it shouldn't be. So that's where I got the idea from. It's like, sex as a weapon, like that's brilliant. And I had that in the back of my mind. And so that's where it started. And But anyway, the song is a little bit more deeper than that surface level. And it just talks about how, generally speaking, how sex isn't supposed to be used as a weapon or something to manipulate or get your partner to do a certain thing. It should be a thing to express love between people and to what I mean, that intimacy.
Unless you're Dave Ellefson from Megadeth, then
No, but what I mean. I believe that's it's something special. It should be. It's an important. It's not the be all and end all of a relationship. Don't get me wrong, but it's important. I think a lot of people these days live in relationships, married, and they never intimate with their partners ever. And for me, it's like it's been 5 years, 10 years, and you haven't been intimate with your husband or your wife. And I'm like, that's not normal. That's not healthy. And
that's not healthy. Yeah.
you might as well move in with your roommate get divorced and move in with your mate of yours and like play PlayStation and drink beer all day. Like, I mean,
Hang on a second. I've got a PlayStation. I drink beer. What? Oh, okay.
No, me too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big Call of Duty fan, but
yeah,
so that's basically what the song was about. It's like,
right.
It boils down to that, and I think it's a good message. Like I said, it's important for couples to it's an important part of a love and a marriage. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Okay, Fear of Falling, track number 2.
Yeah. So Fear of Falling is basically written about, and it also draws from the whole COVID and stuff. Before COVID, most people didn't really think about certain things, about losing your job, or I didn't think about, all of a sudden I'll have no gigs for 7 months. Right. I'd always like, I've built myself up, I'm busy, I've got shows happening, and all of a sudden you got nothing. And a lot of people lost their jobs, and people that thought they were so secure in their jobs and they'd work there until they retire, all of a sudden lost their job, lost their money. Relationships took a lot of strain. People, like I said, in lockdown, they said either you get pregnant or you get divorced. Luckily for me, I got my wife got pregnant, so we just had a lockdown baby 2 weeks ago.
Fantastic! Congratulations, man.
Yeah, my daughter is Layla, named after a Eric Clapton song.
Very cool.
So luckily that was the case. But I mean, so that's what the thing is. Fear of falling. It's like it kind of speaks to so many things. Fear of falling into debt, fear of falling into bad health. Fear of, there's just so many things that it kind of covers, and that's basically it's about. And the song is about to say, you've cured my fear of falling, like finding someone that's there for you, and that what they with you through thick and thin and get you, understand you.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite tracks because I likened it to depression, which I went through quite heavily, and it sums up pretty much like, when you're depressed, you are like you're drowning, and
absolutely
there's ropes everywhere, and you don't know what to do. Either grab on it and pull out, or put it around your neck and fall. It's a double-edged sword. It's a fear of falling, but yeah, depression is a mind fuck. Anyway, we won't get into that, but it's very much one of my favorites.
And that's actually, like I say, if you read the lyrics, and that's exactly it. It speaks to that 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fake it.
I've dealt with that, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, fake it.
It's like line. It's like line there. It says, "I'm hard to understand when I'm down and feeling blue." You know what I mean? So it's like also speaking to a partner, and it's so difficult as if as a person who suffers from depression, it's so difficult for the significant other to actually deal with that, because they don't quite understand. They're like, what's wrong? Trying to help you, and you're like, well, there isn't necessarily anything wrong. I've got a great life. You got a great family, whatever. But you feel this way. It's you feel this dark cloud over you, and and they feel so helpless. And how do I help you? But sometimes it's you can't. You just have to. I don't know. It's a difficult thing.
It's absolutely spot on, because I mean, I have said this before on my podcast, and I'll touch on it again, is that I had a semi-successful IT computer business and ran for a couple of years, had my regular customers, and then that started falling by the wayside, got screwed over by people, and I use inverted commas friends, And then at the end, I said, well, I can do it from home. This is all pre-COVID. It's 2019. I said, well, I can do this from home. And then it came down to that it wasn't going to work. And to save money, my wife and I said, well, let's take our 9-year-old, and she is 9 now, out of school, and I'll homeschool her because I'm at home now. So, and that was one of the things. But then immediately just depression, because you were earning a salary, now you're not. And you were providing, and now you're not. So you feel useless. You feel like you're not providing. And
100%.
And one of the songs that got me through, which is a weird thing because I would never really listen to them, is My Chemical Romance, Famous Last Words, and it talks about depression. Well, it does to me at least, because that's the nice thing about music. You can perceive it any which way. It means a million things to a million people differently every single time, and that's the nice thing about music. But fear of falling for me, it perfectly describes that fear of being a failure and falling and not being able to get back up again. And that to me,
on the head, man.
yeah. I mean, that to me, that song says everything. And the nice thing is there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it may feel like it's an oncoming fucking train. Okay, that's how it is. And the nice thing is for me, how it worked out was I'm here talking to you. Podcasts, gameplay on YouTube, all the things that I would never have strived to have done, I'm doing, because me in front of a camera doesn't work. It goes against every single grain of me. It's like I'm the guy behind the camera, pointing the camera, doing this, that, and the other. So getting out in front of the camera is like a big step. But that's what.
It's amazing.
So yeah, it's incredible. I mean,
you're pushing yourself and you're growing, and that's what life's about. You're
absolutely.
Growing. That's
absolutely. That's exactly it. But let's move on now anyway, because this is not a fucking Dr. Phil episode. All right. Let's talk about the next one. Fake.
We should start that actually. Start a separate podcast so we can just like
Dr. Trev, your psychoanalytic bastard. All right, let's talk about Fake It. What's that one all about then?
So Fake It. It's like it's like that's also quite deep and quite heavy in a sense. It's also about lies and deceits and adultery and cheating, and that's kind of what it boils down to. Right. And I think this day and age is like it's I always say people got this whole thing. It's like quick, everything must be what's the word I'm trying to find now. Everything wants instant gratification, basically, and people want the easier way out. You want to lose weight, well, you just want to go and buy some tablets to lose weight. You don't want to put in the hard work and do the exercise and eat well that you need to do to lose the weight. And when it comes to relationships as well, people the same thing. They're like, in the beginning, this honeymoon phase, 3 months, and as soon as anything gets a little bit difficult or a little bit hard, people want to run away. Right. And it's all this fakeness and unrealness, and especially when it comes to relationships and stuff. And that's basically what Fake It was written. It's like, I know that you're actually cheating and having an affair with somebody. I know what's happening, and you come home and you look at me and you act like nothing's happening. But I know, kind of. Yeah. It's not a personal thing. I'm very happily married. But just people, my wife's like, what the hell? But that's
Yeah.
I always say with songs, it's the same thing. People always think everything is real, and I always try to make an example with people who write novels and books. There's fiction and there's non-fiction, and obviously things come from certain experiences or from a story that you've heard from somebody else or a close family member or a friend, and you kind of turn that into a song, and it could come from somewhere. But not every song. Like I write a song and like, oh, what girl is that song about? Who is she? Who's got the brown eyes? I'm like, it's just a song that's kind of expressed myself. This is a fictional song.
Yeah, I think. But when I listened to that, I was like, damn, is this all about social media? Is this about your fake lives that you're posting up on social media and broadcasting to the whole world? I took a 12 dumb shit today, fucking hell. It was fantastic. Okay, let me put that out to the whole world and get 1 million likes, get that dopamine going. And
yes, well, that's exactly another aspect of it. Absolutely. That's what the world we're living in today, man. And it's sad. Even for the music industry, it's like the only way we can actually get anywhere as a music, I post on Facebook and like, you have to kind of see your success as a musician or an artist by how many likes you get. And I think that is absolutely, I hate it. I really do. It's like,
it's like me.
But anyway, that's the world we live in.
It's like me now. I've started doing, I play games. I record myself playing games and people can watch me play games. It's the most weirdest fucking thing ever, but there are millions of people that do it. And I just said to myself, I'm not doing it for likes. Because I would have given up already if that were the case. I'm not doing it for likes. I'm not looking to monetize it or I'm just doing it for a self-growth thing. And I look at everybody else doing it, and they're just like, oh, like my video. And I'm like, no, fuck no.
Yeah.
No, fuck it.
And that's it's so sad. It's like you have to almost like beg, oh, please, guys, please go and like my new song. Please go and listen to my video. Please. It's like, I'm not a big fan of that at all. But unfortunately, that's the only way artists get out there,
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you need it, but you don't need it. I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's like music's become worthless. You know what I mean? It's become, but that's what I say with this project. That's what Fear of Falling was all about, man. We want to do something that we love and we're passionate about, and from the heart, write something that's real.
Well, it shows. It shows because it's so good. It's gritty. It is wonderfully produced. It just screams to me like, and I hate doing this because it's wrong. Every band and artist is their own thing, but it sounds and has the feels of like the Foo Fighters, that kind of vibe, and
awesome. I love it. Great band, which we all love those bands. And like, two of my favorite bands, See and Foo Fighters,
if you can do it like them, but your own spin on it, then why the hell not? And it sounds fucking fantastic, man. Okay, let's go on to the next one. End of Days.
Yeah. So that's also the same thing. It's also kind of like also putting up with someone and staying with that person doesn't matter what, and doesn't matter what comes your way in life, doesn't matter how hard it gets, doesn't matter what things throw at you, you'll be there until the end of the days. And it's also kind of basically about someone moving on with someone that you love, moving on with somebody else, and you kind of knowing that you've lost that person and you'll never be with them again, but you always love them no matter what. You still love them no matter what for the rest of your life, even though they're not there in your life anymore. And that's quite a tough thing, I think, to deal with. And that's for a lot of people, when you kind of break up with someone or someone you've been together with or married and kids, and you kind of end up in divorce and you shared half your life with this person. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of, you become strangers and watch them move on with somebody else, and you kind of feel that, hey, you'll always love that person no matter what for the rest of your life till the day you die. So
heavy shit, man.
Yeah, man. It's that's kind of, I always use the examples like, geez, I couldn't imagine anything worse than kind of my going through a divorce and having to see my kids every second weekend and watching my wife move on with some other man. It's like, that was just, obviously it's not a personal experience, but I've obviously family, and my parents got divorced, and when I was young, and that kind of thing. So I think that kind of resonated. That song basically is about that, and that I can imagine how difficult that was.
There was an interesting, you said something earlier about you get ideas from books and novels, and those authors and so on get their ideas from stories told or whatever. But when you write a song, is it mostly from not personal experience but experiences around you, or do you sometimes just pluck shit out of the air and go, boom, there you go, let's roll with that?
A bit of both. I think when my solo stuff, it's kind of always been this whole like, pick up the guitar and the words just come out, and I start writing it. At the end of the song, it's like you read what you've written, it's like, what the hell, where did this come from? It's like, I think it was one of the guys, I think it was the Rolling Stones or someone said, that feels like they use it like it's like a radio frequency, and you're tuning in and you catch that song in your mind, and it's already out there in the universe. It's a bit hocus pocus, but I believe it's amazing. Like, where does it come from? It's like you pick up the guitar and you write a song, you read back, it's like, I haven't read anything or watched anything or anything that relates to that. Where does this come from? Which is, it's amazing. It always amazes me, to be honest. But Fear of Falling was a kind of complete, like I said, it pushed my boundaries a bit, pushed me in directions I've never been before. And this was the first kind of project that I sat and actually wanted to write certain, certain topics, and certain things that I felt and I've been thinking about in the real and or either in my own personal life or in other people's lives or in the band members' lives or people around me that's happened in their lives that kind of affected me,
Wow.
So when it came to Fear of Falling, it was deeply kind of personal and real. That's I wanted this project to be, and we all wanted it to be real from the heart.
It shows. It shows.
And it makes a difference. I think when you try too hard, and I've learned that in the past as well. When I was in a band called Cherry Cab, and we had a big single called Head Over Heels back 2013, 2014. And then after the success, you're kind of pressured to like write for more radio hits.
Right.
And we did an EP after that, and you could basically hear it wasn't sincere. It was just we try to write what people want to hear. We try to write what radio wants to hear, and it was a complete flop because of that. It wasn't real, and people can hear the sincerity in your music. And even if you don't like a certain genre, if you don't like a certain genre, like I'm not a rap fan, but there are some rap songs that I'm like, wow, man, that's deep. It speaks to me because it's real. It's coming from the heart. You're not just singing about rims and hoes and money and you know what I mean.
Hoes and money.
I think that's the most important thing.
A bit of generalization there, but anyway.
Right from the heart and keep it real, and it'll happen.
Is there?
Push too hard.
I mean, you're saying that you guys felt pressure to sort of write something, the next big thing or continue that climb. Was there pressure from industry people to do that, or was it a self thing?
Yeah, more self thing. I mean, and I suppose, when I first started, I came to Joburg, studied music, and, after studying, started this band, Cherry Cab, and we went and recorded our first song with JP at B-Shop Studios. We did one song, and I scraped some cash together. It was done on a budget, and we thought, let's just send it to radio, and we did everything ourselves. And all of a sudden, this song was like, 947. 5 FM, every major station in the country was playing the song. And we're like, what the hell? We haven't even done an album yet. We're not ready. I wasn't expecting this kind of thing, And it was hugely successful, that track. And then the pressure is massive because you think, well, you can't have this big song and the next song you release is cuck, and everyone thinks, hey, this band's a one-hit wonder kind of thing. So I think definitely pressure from industry, and I think from you personally is I think the most pressure you put on yourself. Definitely.
Have you've obviously been signed to labels before?
So no, everything was always independent.
Wow.
And I got offered a few deals when I was under Cherry Cab, which I turned down. Luckily, I got to study under a man called Benji Moody. He's like an industry legend in South Africa,
right?
If you don't know him, but he taught me music industry business, and a certain record label wanted to sign me, and the deal was shocking, terrible. And I'm so glad I learned that from him, and I didn't sign that at the time. And then it was just pushing independently for years and years, pushing the grind, doing cover shows, doing gigs wherever I could perform. And then literally during the lockdown, after doing my live streams, started writing, and literally at the end of the first lockdown, I think it was September, Just Music signed myself to a deal, which was fantastic, and it's gone amazing since then. But Fear of Falling, we're completely independent, and we've basically started our own label. So we're doing everything independently, and so we've learned everything. We've done it. All of us have been in the industry for so many years. We know what we're kind of doing now, and so far so good. You don't need a label in this day and age.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. Is independent seems to be the way to go. That a lot of bands are going. Is there still a record industry? I mean, it just seems like there isn't.
There is, but it's dying out, and they say they've been eaten. All the big ones are eaten. There's only very few left. But I'd say there's great record companies still in this country, independent indie record companies, which are great, and who actually really look after the artists and kind of. And there's different deals, So gone are the days where it's like, 360 deal. We want to own everything of you for the rest of your life, kind of thing. Where I've signed is like a marketing distribution deal where I paid for my album. They taking that album and distributing it and getting it onto radio for me and doing the marketing side. So that's a great deal because you still own the right. You still are the owner of your music, and and they basically just promoting you and advertising. They take their cut, which is well deserved for the work they do. But you're not selling your soul for a deal. kind of working
Yeah.
together, and
Yeah.
I think that's where it's gone, you know.
There was I have mentioned this in one of my other podcasts. I think it was with Jesse Switchblade from Deadline. We're talking about music. I might have been the one before that, but Gary Newman, he went to the UK labor laws or something like that, and just said, "Listen, one of my songs got played over on Spotify over 1 million times, and he made £13 from it.
Yeah.
1 million streams, and he made £13. He said it cost him more to print the record out, the sheets of paper. He said he put a whole ream of paper, 500 sheets in, and he left it, and he came back an hour or so later and it was still printing. He said it cost him more for the paper than what it's actually fucking worth."
Yes, yeah.
So
That's,
I mean,
and
that is the
sick. I don't know what's
crazy.
how the industry's going to change. I mean, like say with Spotify and stuff like that, you pay a set amount of $50 a month, and you can listen to whatever you want, unlimited. So music has become worthless. It's before you had to go and buy a tangible hard copy album, and that's what you listened to. You actually it had a value to it, and it was tangible. Now it's so I don't know. I don't know where the industry's going. I mean, people making money off of merchandise and doing things like that, and obviously live shows. But I mean, if you're not one of the big, if you're not Foo Fighters,
yeah,
selling out Wembley Stadium, and you're just a regular band playing at a local band playing at a venue, and people complaining that they don't want to pay $50 to come and watch you, you know, it's tough.
It's very
one of the
hard.
most difficult industries in the world, but
it must be. Any artist form is difficult. But I know that on my radio station, I have X amount of subscribers that pay $3 a month to get access to live shows that are only available once it's gone off air. It's available for them to play as and when, play on demand kind of thing, and they get private shows and all that sort of stuff. And I struggle to get people to part with $3. It doesn't come to me. This is the funny thing. This is what makes me just bewildered, is when you say to people, look, it's $3 a month, it's 50 Rand a month, and you can get access to all my previous shows. It's cheaper than buying a 6-pack of beer. You know, if you go, Rick Shields, and Rick, if you're listening to this, I apologize that I'm using your words here, but we had a conversation, and he's one of the subscribers, and he said to me, look, Trev, I don't mind paying $3 a month, because if I had to go watch 2 or 3 bands play in a club somewhere, it'll cost me triple the amount, and that doesn't include getting there, and it's for one night, and doesn't include my beer and like that. So 50 Rand for a whole month's worth of awesome station that plays rock and metal, I'm down for that. And I said to him, yeah, that's cool. How do I get people to part with their money now? And there's no answer. It's difficult. Everybody, obviously, you know, going through COVID and everything like that. But how do you get people to invest basically in something, whether it's a live show, whether it's the merchandise? I'm going off a bit of a tangent now, but I remember living in the UK in London, and I couldn't wait on a weekend to get into HMV or Virgin stores or Tower Records. Yes, that long ago, folks. I'm that old. And go in and actually buy a CD, or maybe even come out with a shirt or something. I couldn't wait to get that single or the EP or the new Metallica album or something in my hands. It was something else. Now look at everything, and Spotify, Apple, and like you say, it's like 58 Rand a month or something, and the whole world is there.
And you just skip.
And the scary thing is, and Jack, the scary thing is, there is software out there, and I know this for a fact, people. There is software out there that you can use to rip directly off Spotify and Apple and so on. And you don't have to have a membership. You just got to have that software.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, no, that's
it. But the industry is taking a hit, and how do you survive?
What can you do? That's to say, it's a point. You can't change it. It's like you're fighting. How do you change it? The problem is people are used to that standard now, and for you to like start charging them, that's to say they get, I'm not going to pay. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's very, very difficult. But I always say to a lot of bands and artists and stuff, you don't need millions and millions of fans. If you can have 1,000 core, hardcore, loyal fans,
Absolutely.
and they are loyal and they support you and they pay your subscriptions and they buy your merchandise, they come to your shows, and they support you in that way, that's all you need. You can live a decent life actually, and you can, be very successful with your music.
Yeah.
That's what you need. 1,000 core fans. That's kind of the, the way I've looked at it. Obviously that branches off because those 1,000 share your music and it kind of reaches out.
Yeah.
But I always say that's the kind of goal. 1,000 real fans. Not having 50,000 or 150,000 likes on Facebook that mean nothing. They don't come to your shows. They don't listen to your music. They don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather have a smaller number but loyal, and that
But
I
loyal,
think is and if you can look after it. Also, gone are the days where you're a rock star and you don't. I see so many bands in South Africa as well that are there. People comment and reply to them and say, "Wow, I love your music," and this, and they just ignore them on social media. I'm like, just say thank you and appreciate your fans are taking out the time of the day to actually say, I like your music.
Yeah.
You're going to act like a rock star and say, I'm too cool to like kind of reply. I'm this like elusive rock star. Those days are
untouchable
people
God.
want to know you. People want to feel that they're part of your life. People want to feel that they're you know what I mean? And I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, I think the generations that keep coming through are just getting detached to everything that is tangible. And, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy thought, but yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's get into the last track. We really went off the deep end there, right?
Yeah.
Won't Let Go. What's that one all about?
So again, it's the same thing. So that's more of the poppier kind of track, and I think this track is going to be. It seems to be the most. It's going to be the most. As our second single, we're releasing this one on Friday. It's already getting spins internationally, and this is more of the kind of commercial track, and this is more of the kind of happy, feel good. The other stuff's quite dark, but this one kind of is more of an uplifting kind of track, and it's like, I won't let go. I'm lost without you, and we've we've been through this before. Same thing, complicated relationships. Let's put it that way,
Right.
We've gone through all this shit before, and now we kind of, let's just. I'm not going to just give up on you and let go. We're going to keep pushing through, and let's I kind of, that person completes you in life. You need to fight for it,
Yeah.
Fight for who you love. Too many people give up too early. Like I say, it's probably a common theme that's running through. But fight for what you love and fight for what you believe in, and don't let go of what you want in life.
And I think that is. I think that is a perfect spot to end off the conversation, man. Like I've said already, I've spun a couple of tracks already, and I probably shouldn't have. Well, it doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter. Go for it.
It's out there anyway, so it doesn't matter. So on Super Radio, this people who are listening to this, it's going to be broadcast on Super Radio. People are listening to this right now because I am broadcasting it right now on Super Radio in the future, right? Okay, so this is Thursday evening. Thursday morning. Welcome to Super Radio. No, doesn't matter. People on YouTube, you can look at the description below. You can see all the links to Fear of Falling's socials, to Spotify, which I fucking detest, and do what you got to do. Get onto the socials, like, love, share, care, and do all the necessary stuff. Jack from Fear of Falling, dude, thank you so much for taking the time out, and I'm sorry we couldn't get the live broadcast working on YouTube, but I'll try again and see how we go.
Or when it's up, we'll get it shared, and we'll get the
absolutely. It's like I said, this is going to be on Thursday. And then Friday morning, this will be on YouTube. So I'll tag you guys, and you can do whatever you need to do.
Fantastic, yeah.
And also,
crowd. I've got family in Dubai, so get them to tell them to listen, start tuning into Super Radio.
Oh, fantastic, dude! Thank you so much, man. And just before I forget, Plug Music Agency, Warren. Thank you very much, sir, for the hookup to chat to Fear of Falling and to Jack.
Yeah,
thank you so much, man. Keep well, keep safe, and congrats on the baby and on the summer.
Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on your show, man.
Absolute pleasure, man. Alrighty. Cheers, man.
Cheers.